Hi, I am Chelsea Taylor, and welcome to In the Kitchen. Joining us today is Giorgio Rapicovoli.
That's right.
From Eating House. First thing about your restaurant is it was originally a pop-up restaurant.
Yeah.
Which is very different. I don't know if a lot of people know what a pop-up restaurant is. I knew you were the only second one in Miami.
Right.
So can you kind of explain what a pop-up restaurant is to us first?
So a pop-up restaurant, it's just a restaurant that's there for a short amount of time, could travel on, depending on the location. It's not necessarily a restaurant that's there for good. And
so is it because you negotiate it with the landlord to only be there for it's like a contractual,
Sort of. I guess it depends all on the situation,
explain.
but the way we did it is we found a cafe that was open for breakfast and lunch, and we decided to split the rent with them and use it for half the time.
Yeah, so you just did just breakfast?
They did breakfast and
lunch, and you would just come in and do the dinner.
Right.
Okay.
And then they were closed on Sunday, so we decided to open up for brunch, which ended up being pretty popular.
Pretty popular for you guys. I remember seeing all the dishes that you guys something with Captain Crunch involved, and I was
Captain
like, wow,
Crunch
this
pancakes.
is really cool.
Yeah, they're pretty popular.
So how long were you a pop-up restaurant before?
6 months.
6 months.
6 months, yeah.
And then the person that you were sharing the space with, you kicked them out?
No, I wish.
Physically?
No, not really. We got a call, and they offered it to us. I guess it wasn't working out for them financially when we weren't here, so we ended up negotiating a really good deal with them, and we were able to take it off their hands.
Now, how did you kind of find the idea of the pop-up? How did that kind of fall into place? How did that really happen?
Pop-up started pretty big nationally.
Yeah.
It started in San Francisco with Mission Chinese, and then there was other restaurants like Saison, and eventually it came into Miami. This group that now has this restaurant called The Federal on Acme, Caesar and Anise, they opened up.
So you'd kind of seen it.
Yeah, they opened up a place called Fukia here, and it was they had a 3-month stint, and they were located in a little strip mall. It was crazy. And
not the best location ever.
That's what exactly.
But you saw if you have a good strong model and you have good food and you have good people, then
it works.
It doesn't matter where.
It doesn't matter where you are.
People they're going to follow you.
People eat in the middle of the street, if that's the case, and it worked for them. So we figured, now's the time, especially after coming off Chopped. It was really important for me to do something
to kind of
important with
who you were.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about being on Chopped.
Being on Chopped, yeah. So I was at this boutique hotel for 3 years. I was running a small 40-room hotel, and I had the opportunity to go on Chopped.
Yeah, how did that come into play? They just in the restaurant one night?
Yeah, and I actually woke up to a phone call one morning, and they're like, "Hey, this is the producer from Chopped. Do you want to audition?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not? Forget it. Let's give it a shot."
Crazy the way things happen.
Exactly, and I always would see it. I'd be like, "I can do that." You know what I mean?
I can be on that.
Yeah, I can.
But you're not that guy's gonna go stand in a line for 5 hours to audition for a show.
I wasn't even planning. I didn't even know they were
in the
casting
area or
in
whatever.
Miami. But it was awesome. So I figured, why not?
Why not?
If all else fails, whatever. I got a free trip to New York.
Exactly.
And that happened in May of 2011, and I won. And I had to keep it hush-hush for a long time.
Because everyone's watching everything replay.
Right,
and
exactly.
They can't know how far you made it.
So I knew I won. I
won.
found out the date, and I was like, I got to do something with this.
After that, you have to be the winner of Chopped.
Right, so Chopped's coming along, we're watching everybody from Miami, and I realized that just due to my date in the broadcasting, I was going to be the first one from Miami to win. There'd been a couple other competitors from Miami that weren't, as successful.
And that's surprising because honestly, Miami, I feel as though
we have
a lot of talent down here
do.
for food, and not even just Miami, but surrounding smaller, towns that we have around here. So that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's good. Fortunately, they picked it to air that day.
And free PR.
And free PR. What else could you ask for?
Yeah.
And I figured, we're gonna come out winning Chopped. It's gonna be the first one. This was in January. And I figured, let's do something. We got to do something with it.
Right.
And we went with the pop-up.
So then how about, coming into, because you've obviously been involved with other restaurants.
Right,
you've been the sous chef and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
What was different with Eating House as far as the difference in the food and what you decided to go with? Is it similar to what you'd done before, or was it just
completely different?
Completely
nothing
different.
At
Nothing
all.
in your training.
For 3 years, I was working at a hotel where I was cooking for guests. You know what I mean? I had to cook for them, cook what they wanted.
Very structured.
3 years of Caesar salad on the menu starts to take a toll on you.
Yeah.
And then.
And not being able to have any input in.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of input, but you still can't just cook.
To the hotel.
Right.
You
need to cook.
The they know they're coming to a hotel for.
Right. You need to give them the comfort. You need to make sure, even if it's the middle of winter, there's cantaloupe and sliced fruit for breakfast.
Right.
So I decided, you know, it's gonna be no holds bar,
Right.
and we're just gonna do whatever we want. You know, cook what we want, make the place look the way we want,
Right.
dress the way we want.
Roll with whatever we want.
Yeah, basically.
So then talk about, you have 2 other partners.
Yes.
And were they family, friends? Did you guys work together in the industry
Yeah,
prior?
exactly. So Henry,
All of
who
the
works-
above?
basically.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Yes, yes, and yes. So Henry, who works in the kitchen with us, he's the newest partner. We brought him in when we purchased the restaurant. Him and
From
I
the
were-
pop-up to
now, right?
Yeah.
We got a catering company together in cooking school, sort of. Yes. I don't know if you can call
We
it
had a
restaurant
lemonade
company.
stand?
In a nutshell, I think a nomination might have
We
been
served
more
cookies at our
successful.
lemonade stand
Yeah.
at school.
We thought we could cater, so we thought. I mean, I guess it was pretty cool for
It's
what we were
hard.
doing.
What, you were like working in mom's kitchen?
In a nutshell,
Catering
yeah,
at Mom's
prepping
Kitchen?
in mom's kitchen and then going to like random houses. Yeah, so we did that for a while, and then I was also working at this place called Chispa in the Gables. That's where I met Alex.
Uh-huh.
So we started at the Coral Gables location, eventually moved to the Doral location, and while I was, you know, the chef de cuisine of the restaurant, Alex was managing it, and we were
Okay.
both, you know, I was 21, he was 23, and
So you 2 were still really young.
yeah,
And just still getting like the experience
Yeah.
of being involved in
Right.
the, you know.
yeah,
and
we
work.
are young, we are very young, but
Yeah.
we've also been doing this for a long time, you know. We've been doing this for like
With your
10 years
families
now.
and everything like that as
Absolutely,
well.
yeah, and professionally too, you know.
Yeah.
I've been in the restaurant industry since I was 14. Alex has been in it since he was like 16.
Right.
So we got a couple years under our belt
Are you
already.
exhausted?
No, just getting started, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And you like the lifestyle. I mean, it's a tough
course.
industry to be in, and it's a tough lifestyle to lead.
Yeah,
So it's,
yeah. At first,
but
now I'm used to
if
it,
it works
you know.
for you and you make it easy, and
Yeah,
you know,
like
it
Mondays
doesn't
are
seem-
weekend for us. We love that, you know.
Yeah.
While everybody else is going back to work, we have the day off, and
Exactly. The beach is less crowded.
exactly, exactly. If we
There's
ever get
places to
go.
park.
Right. That's exactly. And
So you guys got together. Was it after Chopped that you were like, okay, the 3 of us,
Yeah.
it's time for us to make a move?
right, right. After Chopped, we went into it. You know, actually, it was originally just Alex and I when we were at Pop. It was just him and I. Henry, we brought him in recently. We really wanted to refine the restaurant, and Henry had a lot of really incredible training around Europe, and he's worked under some really talented chefs, especially, you know, like Michelin-rated restaurants
so
over
you
there.
gotta
And
bring
he's-
like a ton
we got a
of
little bit of
culinary,
right,
like, background and stuff,
right.
but very different.
But very
differentiated
different,
to
a
each
different
other.
way, which is what's
Which
very
is what
cool.
works.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, we didn't really learn from anybody how to run a restaurant. We just took the best of everything.
That's my question, because you guys seem like you all have the culinary background, very
Yeah.
strong culinary
Yeah.
background, but then it comes into how are you going to run this business?
Right.
How are you going to know what to order and know how to, you know, manage the money aspect of it? Because
you know,
that ain't easy.
No, it's not easy. Our motto. I mean, look, we're still going at it, but you know, there's money in the bank.
Yeah, you're
There's-
making money.
We're making money.
And
you
it's
know,
always
we're not
work in progress.
Right. We're not in the red. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We've never been in the red. You know, we paid our rent the first day we opened, and that's one business model that I've always learned
Right.
is, you know, you make your rent. You
Stay
make your
out of the
rent.
red.
Right.
That's all that matters.
Make your rent in
Everything
one
else will
day,
fall
and then
into
everything
place.
else is comfortable. You know, you pay your rent in one day's worth of work, and then, you know, you got 29 days to make up. And
relax.
So that's the way it is. You know, you know, we have no recipe book. We're not here breaking down recipe costs and analyzing it. You know, if I take a hit here, we make some more there. It's not really my concern, really. Like, I'm running a restaurant with a bunch of people that, you know, we really care about, that really believe in the food, making
Yeah.
food that we believe in and love, and, you know, it's
What do you find-
an extra dollar is not going to kill me.
Exactly. So that's the thing. Like, you're here to make it a little personalized. I mean,
Yeah.
you can tell by like where you're located it is,
Yeah.
like your location and the size, and it's very like intimate in here, and it's not like in a big hotel.
Right, that's-
which is the nice part about it.
that's
And I love
exactly
that like a lot of restaurants are kind of steering away and doing that more like kind of gastropub feel, where you like want to come in here and see friendly
chill.
faces and like
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
who's
for
serving
sure.
you. So what do you think about your clientele? Do you feel like your clientele is that kind of local?
Yeah, for sure. We have
Yeah.
everything. You know, we have, you know, the parents coming in at 7, the kids coming in at 9. You know, basically is how it is.
High five, moms.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But we have everything. We have from, you know, kids, literally like 10-year-olds coming in with their family because they like Chopped, or we have families coming in, which is really weird
Yeah.
because we have, you know, no filter on our music.
Yep.
So we just put it a little low when the kids are here.
But you feel like
we
you
have
have a lot of
everything.
repeat,
Every,
like,
yeah, a
repeat
lot of
clientele,
tons of
like, a lot
regulars,
of local.
tons and tons of regulars that we know their names that are here at our holiday party. You know, it's cool. We've developed a lot of. We actually like made friends, you know, through here that just from people coming to eat, And you know, some have been here. We've been open for less than a year, and
Right,
we
exactly.
know their
Less than a
parents.
year.
We know their parents' birthdays. We know
Yeah. So
we know
it's
their
become
birthdays.
like a kind of a family.
Yeah, it's
aspect
cool.
of that
It's cool,
too.
but it's also not. It's a place where people can come on a date. It's where
Yeah.
people from out of town come to see what's new in Miami. We have
Yeah,
visitors.
how did
we
you
have
guys change
tourists.
your interior from before when you were
Oh,
a
this
pop-up?
place was
Is
not-
it totally different?
Yeah, so I mean, the layout obviously is the same, and we worked a lot with what we had, but
Right.
it's very different in here than what it used to be. It used to be just like straight white, and like you'd walk in and there'd be like a bakery fridge with their nasty old desserts, and there'd be a Coca-Cola.
We did not make those with a sign on it.
There'd be like a
We did not support
Coca-Cola,
these.
a Coca-Cola fridge in the back with like straight up.
So it was
like
amazing that you could retain.
Yeah, that's the
people
thing.
that
We
were-
figured if people
you
wanna come
can-
eat in this
if you can
hole,
come
you
here
know.
in this, yeah, it's
Exactly.
terrible. Then we can make this so much
Right,
better.
so we put some money in, you know, we put a little paint on the walls, made a cool little wine wall. We
Yeah.
built the tables ourselves,
Nice.
you know. We painted the ceiling, we made these lights ourselves. We put a lot of work in here.
Yeah, and then as far as like the menu, did you transition the menu a lot after you
Yeah,
decided to, you know, go ahead and buy it?
Yeah, we kept some of our classic dishes,
Yeah.
whatever, if you could have a classic dish in the year, but we were pretty well known for like these Brussels sprouts that we make.
Yeah.
The chicken and waffles was really crazy. Like it
I
was
love that.
it was really popular, these chicken and waffles. So we made chicken.
I saw you make those in
Yeah,
Sophie's
we
Kitchen.
made chicken and waffles because for a long time I'd always just joked about the word falafel. Making a foie gras waffle. Yeah, sort of.
A waffle?
So we made a foie gras waffle. We call them waffles.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for
Because you were big, you had a very large brunch.
Yeah,
kind
brunch
of-
is crazy.
And your brunch is still
still kicking.
kicking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so people line up outside the door to literally get
They
in here
do.
for dinner.
They do.
Since I've been here, the phone has rung like 16 times. You take
Yeah.
reservations? Well, we're booked.
Yeah, yeah.
But you can come stand outside.
You're more than welcome to.
With everybody else, and we'll still talk to you. No, that's great.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. So what's, you know, you guys did invest after it was the pop-up. You decided to invest your own money. You didn't
Yes.
go out. What was the deciding factor of we're not going to go out and try to find some investor and open in some really big space and try to make this bigger than what we feel like we could handle? Or, you know, what
We
was
didn't-
your deciding factor in
We
that?
didn't need to. You know, like we wanted to stay here. I love this area. I love this location. I've always loved the Gables. I grew up in the restaurant industry in the Gables, and you know,
So the timing was so right.
Yeah, it was
just
perfect. You know, we had a great opportunity. It was a great price. It was a great opportunity. It was perfect for us. You know, we
Right.
were where people knew we were. We were comfortable. We knew the space. We knew how the kitchen worked. We knew the layout. We knew what we had
and
to
everything
work
just
with.
was working for you guys.
Yeah, it just all worked in our favor, and then we didn't have to ask anybody for money. We didn't need any investors. We don't have anybody else to answer to.
Exactly.
Which
It's
is
right.
the best part. We
So yeah, is that your advice to entrepreneurs that are up and coming in the restaurant
Yeah,
business that have that culinary, you know?
if you have your
Background.
vision, you know, and your drive of what you want to do, then if you work to achieve your goals, it'll happen. You know, we worked very, very hard for a very long time, and we made it happen at the end of it.
So what do you see for the future for Eating House?
The next step is we want to open up a cocktail bar next door because the way here gets a little crazy.
in this space?
Right next door.
Right next door.
Yeah. There's a gym there now. He doesn't really know it yet, but soon there will be a bar.
People don't need to work out.
Yeah.
People need to drink.
Exactly. You need to drink where you used to work out. There's like a body shop
You know
next
that
door.
you know that gym you used to go to? It's now the bar that
Yep.
you will be going to.
Exactly. We'll keep the cardio machines in the back to keep the weight
So
down.
yeah, you could definitely use that.
Yeah,
that
I wanna
cocktail
open up a
space
cocktail
to, like,
bar
Have
and
people just kind of make it a more lounge while they wait.
There's
you
a
know,
little
whatever.
body shop next door, which eventually I would love to turn into like a market. Just I'll have awesome products and homemade charcuterie and
Fresh.
a little butcher shop.
Right.
Yeah, there's plenty of visions. Then comes the Italian restaurant and the barbecue joint, and then this and that and that.
And that and the other. So it's not just gonna stop here.
Nah,
It never
no
does.
way. No.
You're too young. You need
Yeah.
something to age you.
Yeah, there
so
you go.
Look
It's like
old.
more gray hair.
You need something. You look way too relaxed. You should be way more stressed out for being in the restaurant
I've
business.
heard. I've heard.
So thank you so much for
Yeah, of
having
course,
us, though.
of
So
course.
one thing, tell us the only dish or any dish that you kept from the last menu when it was a pop-up restaurant.
Well, we kept a couple, but the main dish I think that really gave us that boom were these tomatoes. These tomatoes happened like on the first day of
They
service
happened.
on the way to the grocery store to pick some stuff up. We were just talking about how we had these awesome tomatoes from Tina's Pride Farm down in Homestead, and we're like, all right, we're not going to do basil,
Buy
mozzarella,
local.
and balsamic. Like, we're not going to do it. It's not going to happen.
You're not
So-
going to do basil, mozzarella, and balsamic,
No,
really?
unfortunately, maybe. You know,
Womp.
womp womp, yeah,
Womp
big
womp.
time, right? So we decided
Never
on this
heard
dish.
of that salad before.
No?
What is
No?
it? Caprese?
Something like that.
salad?
Something like
Duh.
that. We decided to go with this tomato dish with like coconut milk and fish sauce and peanuts. And then we used to do it in the freezer, and it would melt, and it'd be a hot mess. So we got our kitchen, and we got a huge tank of liquid nitrogen. So now we have a lot more fun with it, and it's a crazy, cool little dish that sounds all over the place,
Yeah,
looks all
like
over the
coconut milk and
place.
fish sauce. I'm down.
But it tastes,
I mean,
it tastes, you know,
I'm sure
you
it's
know the
ridiculous.
flavors, and it
But
works
that's the
pretty
thing.
well.
I think that's really cool that you get to have that, you know, carefree, whatever. You know, we'll just try
Yeah,
it out,
dude.
and if it's good, it's
Doesn't
good. If
work,
it's not,
you know.
if they nod, great.
Yeah.
If they don't,
If they don't, you know, we'll print the
whatever.
menu again tomorrow.
Exactly.
That's
so,
the way it is.
Well, I want to see it. So.
Cool, yeah, we'll do it. Let's
Thank
make
you
it
so
happen,
much for
sure.
joining us in the kitchen. I am Chelsea Taylor with Giorgio Cavoli.
That's me.
Yeah.